Okay, today's topic, we are talking about something that I found very interesting and tend to agree with. A while back, an observation was brought up by a reactor by the name of Nature's Fury, who is a new member to the Brony reaction phenomenon. And she said something very similar to what veteran reviewer Gibbon Tate also observed in one of his reviews. And that's in Feeling Pinkie Teen, Twiligh is bad at science. The point of this is that when Twiligh has Pinkie hooked up to the contraption to measure wiggly lines and waves and things, to test to see if she has the Pinkie sense, and nothing happens, what Twiligh is failing to do is she's not being scientific about her scientific experiments. What Twiligh should be doing in this particular situation is having Spike or one of her other pony friends drop various objects from above to see if Pinkie can detect whether or not things are about to fall. See, the whole point of scientific experiments is to recreate the conditions in which the thing you're observing happens, and to have it intentionally happen and observe what happens, and then to create a bunch of other conditions under which this thing can happen and see if it happens consistently under various circumstances. There should be moments when Spike's dropping stuff, when he's not dropping stuff, when he almost drops something but doesn't, various inhibiting of Pinkie's senses, of the conditions in the room, controls of the temperature and the airflow, and every other possible factor. Twiligh should be doing to Pinkie what the Mythbusters do on their show in any given situation when they want to test especially human responses or animal responses in various situations. There should be a controlled group where things are normal, and the experimental group where you set up the experiment and you make it happen, rather than just hooking Pinkie up to the machine and monitoring it and expecting the Pinkie sense to be triggered at the exact moment when you're watching her. You should be forcing it to trigger. I didn't have enough information in my head to go ranting about how much I agree with somebody's observation. And Nature's Fury has been doing some wonderful, unique observations on her channel. You should check her out. She's new to the series, but highly insightful, and she picks up on things that other bronies never seem to notice, or at least none that I'm aware of. But here's the thing that makes this a more interesting topic than just me agreeing with someone I just recommended. And that is, should Pinkie Pie be explained to begin with? The brony community loves to say, don't question Pinkie Pie, don't try to explain Pinkie Pie, it's just Pinkie Pie being Pinkie Pie. However she works, we'll never know. But if we did understand how Pinkie works, if her powers could be attributed to not just her Pinkie sense, but her fourth wall breaking powers, if they could be attributed to some kind of untapped Earth Pony magic that other Earth Ponies clearly have, such as Cheese Sandwich, but they don't all have this magic. if that to be the explanation, if it to be explained by science, or by Pinkie not being a pony and being some other creature, if it to be explained by luck or statistics or math or anything, would that make Pinkie Pie a less interesting character? Would it complicate things? Would knowing how Pinkie Pie works raise other questions of, well, if she works this way in this situation, how come this other situation happened? You know, if someone says that Pinkie breaks the fourth wall because she's solar powered, well, what happens if she breaks the fourth wall when she's at nighttime or in someplace shady? Now the sun isn't touching her, so she shouldn't be able to use her powers. You know, that's what I mean. That was a bad example, but an example of what I mean. If you have an explanation for Pinkie Pie, that explanation has to work in every single episode of 4 seasons going on 5, as well as in the comics. If whatever explanation you give to Pinkie Pie, it has to make sense in the universe all the time. It doesn't matter if she's a changeling or a draconiquist or a secret Alatorn princess who magically hides her wings and horn with an invisibility spell, or if she's an alien from another planet powered by the solar radiation of the sun of Luna, or, you know, if she's a pie, if she's adopted, whatever crazy thing explains Pinkie Pie. Maybe she studies the dark arts, or she's secretly the god of the equestrian universe, or, you know, maybe she sets all this up ahead of time, or she's a time traveler, or, you know, whatever crazy Pinkie Pie theory explains her. It has to work in every single past episode of the series, and it has to continue to follow those rules and guidelines for the rest of the series and everything else she appears in. If we decide that, like with Deadpool and so many other similar fourth wall breakers, that Pinkie Pie should not be explained, then we don't have to worry about the rules of Pinkie Pie, and suddenly she can do anything she wants and we don't have to explain it. But then if we put this in place, that Pinkie Pie exists without rules, then it raises yet another question. Should there be limits to what Pinkie Pie can do with her strange, unusual powers? Like, yes, Pinkie Pie can break the fourth wall, and she has different twitches to tell her different things. But should we question Pinkie Pie when her head is able to inflate like a balloon and send her drifting off into the atmosphere? Does Pinkie Pie, being a creature that exists without rules, give her the right to tap on the TV screen and directly address the audience? Does it give her the power to pause the episode, to rewind it, to fast forward it, to play back the director's commentary? Does it give her the power to pop into real life and suddenly show footage of a voice actor recording session straight from the booth? Does it give her the chance? Does it give her the power to hold her breath until she becomes blue and she walks around the rest of the day as a blue pony? Does it give her the power to turn her tail into a giant knife and cut people up. You know, how many powers do we give Pinkie Pie before we start questioning her and say, no, there has to be a limit on what she can do? You know, do we drop Pinkie Pie off a cliff to see if she pancakes like Wile E. Coyote? Does Pinkie Pie have the power to drop a rock and have that rock not fall until she's under it and then have it crush her? Does she have the power to walk off of a cliff and not fall and not be affected by gravity until she looks down and realizes she's standing on thin air and then she falls? You know, how many powers does Pinkie Pie get before we say, that's enough, we gotta draw the line someplace? So, two very good questions. One, should Pinkie Pie be explained? If she was explained, would it take away the wonder and majesty that makes her an interesting character? Would explaining Pinkie Pie ruin what makes Pinkie Pie unique? And two, should Pinkie Pie exist completely without rules and limitations to her character, or should there be a basic guideline spelling out what type of fourth wall breaking she can't do? What types of things her Pinkie sense can't tell her? Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching and good night.